What is going on, guys? This is Miasin. So ever since we got the ban list, I never really had much time to let you guys know how I truly felt about it. There's just so much to cover because this is like the one per year big ban list that we get from Konami. Apart from that, we get like 3 to 4 cards in the list and that's it. But this one's like actually massive. So obviously I have to make like an in-depth video on it because there's a lot of hits that happened and a lot of things that didn't happen. And I wanted to go over all of that today in this video. But before we go any further, I would really appreciate you if you could smash the like and subscribe button for me real quick. And now let's get right into it. Alright, so first things first, good riddance for the Ishizu Millers, so Guido and Kelbeck. I mean, I play tier elements, but I don't really have any emotional attachment to the deck. And as a matter of fact, I don't really have any emotional attachment to anything in this game. So yeah, I don't care if a deck gets hit. I'm just gonna move on and play something else. But yeah, these cards getting banned is just a good thing for the game because they just introduce like variants, and that's very bad actually. It just makes it so that you can sack your opponents or get sacked. Nobody really is happy when they are on the receiving end of a Guido or Kelbeck milling the crack, or when you are milling with a Guido and Kelbeck and you're whiffing. That's also a very bad feeling. So yeah, banning these cards will just solve that entirely. And it's not like it makes the tier elements deck unplayable. The deck is still very good, and it's also getting like indirect support very soon. I will be making an updated combo video and deck profile very soon, so don't worry, stay tuned and smash the like button if you want it. Guido and Kelbeck, good riddance for them, but Mudor and Keldor are the more fair ones, quote unquote, even though they're like less good in tier elements and actually better in Labyrinth if anything, because you discard them and then you use them right away. Yeah, they dodge the ban list, but it's fine. As a matter of fact, I could actually see both of them getting unlimited now, because without the Millers, these cards are honestly not even that good. But yeah, speaking of Labyrinth, it's actually very interesting that a bunch of Floodgates dodge the ban list, but again, I can't really complain because Rivalry goes in match and there can only be one, all went to one. We lost like 6 cards that shouldn't be in the game, so I really cannot complain whatsoever. But yeah, Eradicator, Anti-Spell, and Skill Drain, I don't really like them too much. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be a better game without them, but it is what it is. Again, I think just a matter of time before they eventually die. Eradicator Virus is not only good in Labyrinth, but also in combo decks, because now you can copy its effect with Transaction Rollback generically. So yeah, if you can mill a bunch of cards, tier elements, then yeah, this card might be a little too good. And that anti-spell is basically like Imperial Order, but at home, but like not really at home because it's still really good. And then Skill Drain is, yeah, it's Skill Drain. Anyways, for the most undeserving ban of the whole ban list, I would have to say it's Mathmech Circular, honestly, because before the ban list, nobody was really playing Mathmech, at least this format, because it only really had like terrible matchups in the format. Like obviously Droll destroys the deck for the most part. And then Shifter is game, and then a lot of things are game. Ghost Bell, Bestios, DD Crow. Yeah, it's just, I was not doing too well with Mathmech, and also a lot of matchups again, like, you're just so shit. Like, the Branded Chimera matchup, it's like a 90-10 in their favor. It's so bad. They summon the fusion, the Rin Realm or something, there's no out. Literally, you cannot win if they play correctly. Again, I couldn't care less, even though I was a Mathmech player myself. Yeah, I don't think this hit should have happened, but it doesn't really matter too much. I guess it's just like preemptively destroying a deck before it becomes good, because low-key, this deck actually has a very good Fire King matchup. If anything, I was expecting Mathmech Circular to go to 3 from this ban list, so I got exactly the opposite of what I got. But hey, Mathmech Circular going to 0 is like, again, a gift to Joshua Schmidt for winning the YCS, so there you go. It's literally just custom made for him. Alright, after Mathmech Circular was Isold, which I also... I mean, no, actually, no. Unlike Mathmech Circular, I was expecting Isold to get banned, and not Phoenix Blade. Some people were like, nah, are you kidding me? Isold is completely fine, Mikanko is tier 5, and Infernal is rogue at best. I'm like, bro, stop playing the game. Like, you know nothing. Isold is actually extremely degenerate, and Mikanko is like the best deck of the format. It's just that nobody knew how to play it. But yeah, it was by far the best deck. Well, maybe not by far, but it definitely was the best deck. It could break like all kinds of boards going second. It's just that, again, the deck is so complicated that the average human does not have a brain sufficiently good enough to be able to like come up with the combos. But Isold was insane, and the deck is like an FTK based deck. So it's like if they go first, no kinds of board breakers can break it. Like, absolutely nothing. So yeah, good riddance Infernal and Mikanko. And Phoenix Blade dodging the ban list is completely irrelevant since Isold is now out of the picture, and Phoenix Blade was broken because of Isold. So this takes care of a lot of things, and the Warrior Toolbox is no longer a thing, finally. And the one-card Exodia is unfortunately no longer a thing either. After that is actually one of the most deserved unbans I've seen in a while, and that is Orist Harpour. It's actually crazy how this card could have gotten unbanned several months or maybe years ago, and it wouldn't have changed that much because Orist is the kind of deck that just gets power crept naturally. It doesn't really have to get banned specifically. As long as it can be splashed as like a splashable engine, then it's fine. But even then, it involves bricks and stuff. So it's not. I'm not even sure people would be playing it anyways. But yeah, Orist Harpour is actually completely fine to come back into the game. It's not doing much of anything. It can easily come back to 3 also, and it wouldn't change the dynamic of the metagame. It wouldn't make Orist like a tier 0 deck, not even remotely close. The deck is very resilient to Drool and Nibiru. Those two hand traps do nothing against Orist, because the deck just floats a lot and it doesn't really search. It sets from deck to field, and yeah, it special summons from deck, or revives back from grave, or foolishes from deck to grave. So it's a cool deck for sure. I'll probably place it in like the rogue section, or maybe above rogue, like on the same category as like Dragon Link and stuff like that. Like, it's a good deck, but it's not on like the Fire King level post Phantom Nightmare, for example. Not even close. So yeah, it's still a really nice deck for sure. Maybe in the top 10 best decks, actually. I do believe in Orist. Again, I'm really happy for all the Orist players that can finally play with Harpour. Again, like I said, very well deserved. Red Ox going to 1 is completely obvious. I mean, I can't believe like Tidal didn't get unbanned, but like it doesn't matter because I think Konami just wants to gradually unban each Dragon Ruler, kind of to give people like some suspense, even though like nobody cares because nobody's gonna play them, and then eventually they're going to unlimit all 4 of them, and also nobody's gonna care because the Dragon Rulers are like very hard once per turn. They have 3 effects and you can only choose 1 of them per turn, and only once that turn, so it's not even like playing 1 or 3 makes a difference. So yeah, nobody cares about the Dragon Rulers. They all suck. I guess Tidal is maybe like the better one because it can foolish anything from deck to grave. But Red Ox, like, I guess you can play in Vanquish Soul maybe, but it's not even that good. And Tidal, I mean, it would have been good in tier elements, but that deck also got nerfed. Anyways, Rescue Ace, Airlifter went to 1, Emergency dodge the ban list, that's fine, but they did it on purpose because they want Rescue Ace players to drop their deck and play Fire King instead to push new product, which is obviously very smart. There's no reason to preemptively hit Fire King. Otherwise, how are they gonna like promote the new product? This obviously made a lot of sense and was to be expected, to be completely honest with you. I mean, the deck did win a YCS or 2, or actually 1. Actually, I forgot. Actually, I don't care. And then Unchained Soul of Sharvara. I mean, the Unchained deck 100% had to get a hit to one day or another. And he was either between Sharvara to 1 or Caesar banned. But I guess Sharvara to 1 is like the best way to like avoid collateral damage and to make it so that the deck is still good but actually forces you to use your brain, which is something that I think the average Yu-Gi-Oh player might not know how to do. So maybe Sharvara to 1 will be enough to convince people to drop this deck altogether. Anyways, after that we've got the Saaval on hit, so Dryas and Healer to 1. Basically what that means is that now you have to play Aroma cards in your deck. By the way, this is not like my conclusion, that's because people told me I suck with the deck. But yeah, the new Aroma cards honestly are actually really bad. But I guess if you can make them work in Saaval and Rika, that could work. But I don't know if it's gonna be doing that much. I think the deck is definitely getting worse because these cards, they look like they do almost nothing on their own. But you kind of need to play them and like a bunch of Aroma cards, and there's a lot of Garnets, and you need to be pretty good at deck building. I don't know, I can't wait to see what Jessica is going to cook up with the new cards. But yeah, at the moment the deck does look like it's nerfed, rightfully so, because the deck won so many events. Again, thanks to the exact same players in Europe. Shoutouts to you guys. Anyway, Snatch Deal going to 1, nobody cares. The card could come back to 3 and they would change nothing because monster stealing cards are the exact same as like Regeki Dark Hole. If they don't resolve, then nobody has to care, right? I mean, the game is that simple. If they get negated, then it is what it is, and they can easily get dodged because they do target. It's not like Triple Tactic Talents that doesn't target, so it's kind of broken, but it requires your opponent to use a monster effect on the main phase, so it's less broken. But Snatch Deal, I mean, it can be like MST, they can be destroyed by other means. I mean, it's searchable by like a hidden armory or army card. I forgot the name of the card, but it's like a spell that searches like an equip spell, and absolutely nobody cares. So yeah, Snatch Deal is just irrelevant, honestly. Change of Heart could also come back to 3, by the way, and nobody would care. Anyways, Pankratops to 2, I think it's fine if they wanted to not hit Fenrir. I do find it strange that Fenrir dodged the ban list completely. That's one of the things I disagree with, but if they were trying to unlimit Pankratops, then all that means is that the TCG wants to take like a different direction than the OCG. So they want more people to play Pankratops to like rival Fenrir, because these cards are almost identical. I mean, they're both level 7 Earths, they're both inherent summons, and they both have the ability to break boards going second, but Fenrir is like the better one going first, and Fenrir searching Fenrir is what matters, but Pankratops can't search Pankratops, so multiple copies of Pankratops, it might be a little more fair, especially considering the fact that this is a hard once per turn for the summon and for the effect. Anyways, after that we've got Spear or Terratop. It makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact that Goblin Rider is a rank 3 or link, well, I mean not link 3 obviously, but rank 3 turbo deck, and it is going to come out in Phantom Nightmare, so Terratop is going to preemptively convince people to play the deck, so it will push sales, and that is actually very smart, and I agree with that. It's also going to be a little boost for the Speedroid players, because the deck is actually not too bad, and Terratop is extremely cracked in Speedroid. If you think it's good in like rank 3 decks, don't wait until you see what it can actually do in its own deck. Then you'll really understand why this card's insane. But anyways, after that we've got some purely hits, and I forgot to put the picture of Sleepy Memory because I'm extremely stupid. Before that, I wanted to say that Goblin Rider has an extremely good matchup against Purely. Konami wants people to keep playing Purely so that people will play Goblin Rider even more. Yes, Sleepy Memory went to 2, nobody really cares, because all that really means is that you're drawing a maximum of 4 instead of 6 cards on the opponent's standby, and the odds of getting Sleepy off of my friend would be 67% instead of 100%. So that's all it really changes. But if you're revealing 2 Sleepy with 1 Delicious, then you're always a winner anyways. After that, we've got Infernity Archfiend to 3, which I also could absolutely not care less, and Launcher still at 1. I don't even think Infernity is going to see any play. I mean, it's way too old, and it's still lacking a few other cards, like Lavalval Chain, and I remember the good old days with Diamond Direwolf. Yo, shout out to Sahabi, it's actually insane. Anyways, Kashtira Unicorn to 3, nobody cares. Mind Control to 3, also nobody cares. I talked about like monster stealing cards just not being good enough. Change of Heart could also come back to 3 with Snatch Deal, and nobody would play them because they just get negated. When's the last time you saw Regeki and Dark Hole being played? There you go. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Why play a card if it just gets negated all the time? Anyways, Desires is now back to 3, which is actually irrelevant because I think even if it was a 3, people would still like maybe choose to only play 2. And so yeah, when the card was semi-limited, like it wasn't really hurting anyone. Now for Pot of Prosperity, this one is a little frustrating because I did want Prosperity to get limited. This is one of the few things I somewhat disagree with a lot in the ban list. Because, yeah, this card is a staple that can be played in just about any deck and give decks, like, insane consistency. But at the same time, Prosperity is seeing less play, so I'm going to be complaining a little less moving forward. And Spellbook of Judgement, nobody cares. Sprite Starter, this is a very marginal increase in consistency, so it's also irrelevant. I'm fine with that. It's also going to be, you know, more relevant when the Sprite deck is going to be getting the new Iceberry cards from Terminal World. Mirror Magic is going to help the deck a little bit at helping them make Toad more often, so that's always nice. And then Upstart to 3, but no Chicken Game. Chicken Game is worse than Upstart, actually, especially when we only have 1 terraforming. Upstart is also not going to see any play. The reason for that is because Droll is extremely prevalent in the metagame, and there is no reason to play these cards over Prosperity. Obviously, if you have the choice between one of the two, you always play the Prosperity. That guarantees you a powerful card, whereas Upstart and Chicken Game, they just make you, like, deck thin, and it's not really good, and Chicken Game is also, like, very high risk, low reward, because at best it's an Upstart, and at worst it makes your opponent draw 1 card if it stays on the field, and you also lose in time with these cards. So yeah, enjoy being very frustrated with your own cards. I forgot a small little detail. These cards actually suck in tandem with hand traps because if you upstart into a hand trap going second, you're late behind. But it's not too bad with board breakers. But board breakers suck this format. Again, video on that topic very soon. And finally, the last card is Ib, the World Challenge Justiciar. This card is massive copium. I've already made a video on it. Not really, but I mean, I talked about it in one of my videos in the past. Ib is only good in bad decks. We don't really have to care about that. It's not like, I mean, the Danglong had the same problem, actually. You have to play bad cards if you want a good card to be good. Look at the results. Nobody's playing Danglong, so nobody's going to be playing Ib, naturally. Anyways, overall, for the ban list, I would give it, like I said, a solid 9 out of 10. My only complaints would be Prosperity should have gone limited. Fenrir should have got limited. Some floodgates like Eradicator, Anti-Spell, Skill Drain should have gone limited. Mathmech Circular maybe shouldn't have gotten banned. That was a little too rough for no reason. Even though, again, I personally don't really care. I'm going to give this ban list a solid 9 out of 10, like I said at the very beginning of the video. Anyways, that's all I had for this video. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.